Hello everyone, this is Jasmine, aka Gladiatorinsweats, and I'm here with a tarot message for today, Wednesday, October 17th. So happy Wednesday to everyone. I haven't done one of these in quite a while, but I really felt called to do a video. I was gonna normally post this on Instagram, but yeah, video it is. So let's just get into it. The card that I did pull for us was the Hanging Dragon. And again, I feel like this is actually very much resonant with what I've been feeling. And it actually was in reverse. So I'm going to honor that and acknowledge that. And the bottom of the deck, we had the Page of Coins. And so together, I feel there's this message of us coming through to the end of our tunnel, if you will, coming through the end of our dark night of the soul in a way where, as I've maybe been mentioning and saying in so many words, of us walking through these shadow realms and essentially walking through the lost woods in a sense where we're finding ourselves, we're really finding who it is that we truly are. When we even think about integrity. And every time I think about the word integrity, I think of, who it is when no one is around, who it is you when you are being your most you is you, outside of wanting to fit in or be likable or trying to be approachable or any of that, just really focusing on being our most honest us and authentic us, because it is through us hiding who it is that we truly are, not even only from others or even mostly from others, but ultimately from ourselves, where we create further suffering for ourselves because we're not acknowledging how it is that we truly feel, because we're wanting again to fit in, or wanting others to approve of us. Ultimately, this is a survival fear in and of itself, of us feeling if we're not likable, if we're not desirable, if we're not all of these things to society, then we will not have our needs met. We won't be loved. We won't be appreciated. We won't be able to, hold a job. We won't be able to hold a certain position in life because our value, our inherent value, is not seen. And so I feel many of us have struggled, at least at some point in our lives, with wanting to be valued, wanting to be appreciated by others, wanting to be appreciated, in our work, through our career, in our relationships, in our partnerships, romantic, platonic, or otherwise. And in whatever situation or circumstance, I feel many of us can resonate and sympathize with the feeling of disappointment, of feeling let down, of feeling as if what you give is not what is returned, or feeling like what it is that you deserve is not given. And there's just so much nuance and so much complexity to really breaking this down, and all of us have our own different path and shade to this narrative. But ultimately, I feel there is a learning of valuing ourselves, of really discerning our value from a different place, from a more internal place, a more like soul esteem place, as opposed to a self-esteem place, which these terms are all kind of coming from the book that I've been reading, which I guess I'll just repeat it once again, the Transforming Fate into Destiny book that I have been referencing and talking about a little bit recently. And even when we think about the self-esteem, we think of self. We think of, what does self entail? It entails of the ego, entails of what is here on this material realm. And it's not to say that we shouldn't have self-esteem, esteem in in self, and what it is that we are able to create or produce or be or aspire to. But I feel there's a deeper desire that is coming through for the collective to have a soul esteem, a confidence, and the connection that we have to our destiny inherently. I know that for many of us, we feel a disconnection or have felt a disconnection to our path, to our destiny, to whatever it is that we feel our purpose, or not that we all have one purpose, but I think you get what I mean of like what is the ultimate underlying theme or path that runs under our feet, under our nose, as we're walking through this living journey. And as I've been talking about, we're kind of moving from the goalpost or the signpost being so much external and moving more internal, because as I've been trying to find the words to explain, and I hope that it's really coming across, that it's not necessarily that the external is not something to be acknowledged, but that from my understanding and from my experience, when you're able to work through the internal is not necessarily all that dictates the external, because again, there's just many factors and layers and just so much complexity to our lives and to how our lives are all ultimately connected. But the point that I am ultimately wanting to get across is that we are feeling that the answers are all outside, when the answers that we often find outside are the answers after the fact, after someone has already traveled a certain journey or have had a certain experience. And when I even get to the whole notion of questioning everything, I don't entirely mean from a paranoid way of thinking things are out to get you. That's not exactly what I even mean, or even at all what I mean. When I mean question everything, it's about having a sense of wonder, a sense of what if, a sense of considering the other potentialities than what maybe has been expressed or displayed prior. And that's where we're able, again, to be able to break off from what has been and to create something totally, unheard of or not experienced yet. And so as all of us are turning more inward, turning more into ourselves, we're able to find guidance that is not only authentic, but is unique to us, because it comes from the information that we inherently came in here with to help us. And we are all able to access knowledge, and we're all able to, access help and assistance on our path and journey by connecting with others, by reaching out to other people for assistance and whatnot. But again, I really do feel here there is this deeper connection of us seeing the light through the tunnel, of acknowledging that actually we are not necessarily just more in control, but we are actually more empowered than we thought that we were. We are more supported than we thought that we were. We are more powerful because of this support than we thought that we were. Because we're acknowledging the subtle support that is inherently there in all choices and all decisions and all time, essentially. And something I even just want to note, because it's here in the cards, at the bottom of the deck, this page of coins, underneath it, I have the 5 of coins, and I'll go ahead and show a picture, and you can see the very stark similarities and differences between these two cards. And some of the things that I really find important, I feel, to this message is, one, you notice a dragon is not necessarily moving frantically or moving necessarily differently. What I notice here in the card is there's a maturation here. There's a sense of being able to shift perspectives here, where the dragon in the 5 of coins, is using his physical eyes, and yet he's not able to really see the connection or see the way out through with his physical eyes. Although there are these, pentacles out here in the external. But here on this page of coins, you notice the pentacle is right there, actually built into the maze. It's not actually outside or separate from the maze. The solution is actually found through the initiation, through the test. And that's really definitely what I feel here is a surrender to the circumstances, not in a sense of giving away your power to be like, I'm a victim, whatever's going to happen, it's just going to happen to me. And, I'm just a player in this game. There's a level of acceptance there, of accepting that to a certain extent, our minds, especially, can only do so much. Our minds can only take us so far in terms of being able to connect to what we cannot see, what it is that is in the non-physical, in the unknown, in the, again, the unseen. And through us not just surrendering or accepting, but through us creating space to receive knowing, creating a space for us to see between the lines, we're able to acknowledge the solution. We're able to find the truth that's hidden in the fertilizer, if you will. When we, again, think about flowers, when you think about just all that it takes to create, when you think about all the dirt and the muck that it takes to create some of the most beautiful, marvelous, miraculous things, we don't really have a disgust when it comes to the creation of diamonds. We don't, discuss the difficulty that comes from that, or even when it comes to children. And I guess this is maybe my personal experience, but we talk so much about how beautiful it is to have children, but something we don't talk about so much is all of the supposedly unpleasant things and the dark and the nasty and the ugly that comes with creation. And that has been, I feel, the most uncomfortable part for many of us because of the Western focus on positivity and keeping things in the light and higher vibration and, just all of this focus on, the masculine side of things. As I even talked about in my Instagram stories, a lot of this focus on toxic masculinity, I completely understand with it being referred to like the gender roles and the stigmas that we hold in our society. But even if we were to talk about the toxic masculinity within our new age communities and our spiritual communities, the focus on, the senses and the focus on the intellect and the focus on mental ability and technology advancements, and this can also be toxic masculinity, when we're not acknowledging the divine feminine, which means that the divine feminine also encompasses these darker emotions. And these are the things that, again, we can see how this plays out in our real world, where we do condemn many things that we tie to femininity, like emotions, like being angry, being righteously angry at that, when we're dealing with these sorts of energies, or even, again, the supposed more darker feelings and emotions. All of this, I feel, as I've been talking about, we're really coming to find a new sense of respect, a new sense of honor, and integration, ultimately a divine balance and integration of this too. I feel, of us finding the flow between the masculine and feminine qualities and harmonies within ourselves, within the ways that we treat each other, and the ways that we perceive our lives, and the ways that we perceive, the workings of the universe, if you will. So yeah, even underneath these cards, I have Justice and the Chariot. So I definitely am feeling this about us learning how to take a sturdier responsibility, a sturdier sense of our ability to respond as opposed to react, and move unconsciously, for us be able to create and choose more consciously how it is that we feel, how it is that we will perceive, how it is that we will decide to move forward in every present moment. And all of this comes through us coming into this divine, and I keep saying divine, but what I even mean by divine is ultimately this this subtle and graceful integration that comes through with spirit, when our souls and our spirit and then our bodies, the vehicle with which we create through, all ultimately resonates in harmony. This harmonic resonance that takes place, where we're able to again come through with a more expanded clarity of what is taking place for us and where to go from here. So yeah, I hope that this ultimately brought some sort of clarity and insight for us all, as I feel that we're having to face not only our what can feel vague to be as shadows, but really the parts of us, again, that we've not only neglected, but the parts of us that I feel maybe many of us have struggled for a while now in acceptance with other people, and feeling this need to kind of like hoard ourselves, to hermit out in a way where we can even keep ourselves from engaging with the world, where we create so much separation and compartmentalization. And I mean, I feel like I can definitely speak from this with all kinds of experience, whether it's, the physical separation that I have definitely taken place when I have felt extremely vulnerable or triggered, or also the emotional and mental separation that we do, which, sometimes is necessary, but oftentimes we separate ourselves because of our fears and our doubts and what it is that we think others will believe or feel about us, and or say about us. And oftentimes we create a lot of drama and frustration within our own minds based on past experiences, and we don't actually know how people will react, and yet we react from our past and expect not to create the same thing over and over. So yeah, there's just a lot that we're really evaluating, and I think it's important that we are observing, not in a space of feeling, okay, that means we need to immediately correct this. Oh, that means I need to do this better. Oh, that means I need to stop doing this. Like, instead of moving, again, that's that masculine energy to want to do, to want to change, and move. But really, again, I feel there's a need to really sit in it, to really sit and actually see the grander picture, because the picture isn't more than just one piece. It takes multiple pieces, and it takes the whole putting together of the puzzle to really see all parts of it. There's no true set in stone of anything until it actually is. And it's working with what actually is, where we're actually more in control, where we're not necessarily just in control, but it's more, if anything, more sustainable and more healthy. And it keeps us in this present now in a more joyful and a more, I guess, stress-free, more relaxed, in the flow sort of groove. But yeah, I could go on and on, I guess. So again, I'll close this off here. And again, thank you so much for tuning in. For all of those that are new subscribers or returning, I'm just so appreciative for all the support and love as always. So yeah, do check out the description box for ways to reach me on Instagram or at my website at gladiatorinsweats.com. And yeah, I think that's really it for now. I've got some new content coming, as always, just working on things and just really tuning into what's going on, not just for myself, but for the collective, and seeing how things are playing out, and really just wanting to, I guess, give my perspective and really talk about things from, I guess, not so much in a space of wanting to immediately critique or judge things in a way of this needs to be better or worse or whatever, but really just let's talk about things. Let's look at things. Let's kind of sit with it and let it mingle. Let it just really permeate our psyche a little bit, as we're entering into Scorpion season, on top of all this. But all of this happening also when Mercury is going to enter Sag, Jupiter is going to enter Sag. So at the same time as we're sitting in these really deep and sometimes dark and murky waters, there's also this energy that will come through, I feel, to allow us to really experience and journey this darker terrain with a sense of wonder, with a sense of purpose. So, yeah, do stay tuned for any new content that will be coming. And yeah, as always, much love and many blessings to you all. Bye.